Hi, I'm Sarah from
Well,
Not
nice to
Coming.
meet you.
Such a pleasure to be able to speak to you today. Maybe you could just begin with a brief introduction to your wonderful film, Amanda. What can audiences expect when they watch it?
Um, I have, to be honest, I've never, I don't know because I was never in the audience for Amanda, of course. Like I was writing it and I was like, in a very different position, so I didn't have many expectation on the film or on the audience. I was just like, I just hope all the time, like they enjoy the film, they laugh sometimes at the right time. I mean, then they I don't know. I hope they can empathize with Amanda, which is like it's her story basically, and it's where the story generates from. I started to write it from the character, starting from the character, and I let Amanda move and be herself, and so I started from the character and not from the plot. And so I think like this is I mean it's an element I really care about, the character.
Mm, absolutely. And of course, it's your feature debut. So, what was the initial inspiration? Like you said, you're starting from that character. Did you take elements of her from your own life? Was it people you knew? Like, where did this first idea for this character come from?
Um, I thought about it afterwards, like because at the beginning I was just writing, so I didn't think about it. But for sure, it's someone I would like to have as a friend, probably. And then and then is someone maybe sometimes I would like to be in her in some aspects. Like I gave her some aspects that I would like to have, or I would have loved to keep in my adult life. And for example, I feel I tend to adapt a bit more to reality, while she always tends to adapt reality to herself. Of course, it works also because the tone is a bit not very realistic, so it's fun, and but it could be, if it was realistic, it could be a bit problematic as well. So and then sometimes I also think about children's book that usually have heroines and heroes that are children, and I always wonder like how they're gonna be when they grow up. I wonder if it would break my heart if they like completely change, or like Pippi Longstocking, for example, was one of my favorite. I'm always like, how is she doing now? Like, how is this? And I imagine maybe they could become someone like Amanda.
And I think the first thing that really stands out to me about the film is, it's got this very particular tone, this very particular kind of feel to it, kind of very surreal, sort of tragic comic. So I was wondering, how would you characterize kind of the look and feel of the film? And where did you kind of take inspiration from that? Was that from other filmmakers, or was that just something that seemed to you to fit the story, fit the character?
Yeah, yeah. So I've always I started as a screenwriter. That was my debut feature, and I wasn't planning to direct it either. Then the producer told me, I feel it's a very personal story. I don't know if that was a compliment, but yeah. Then, and at the beginning I said no, but then they stopped asking me, so I was like, I'm gonna do this, and and so I tried to keep references, because I didn't have a strong vision as a filmmaker, because it was my first time. So I never directed short. Like I didn't know my language or my like visual word, let's say. So I tried to keep references a bit far. Also try not to make any stylistic choices, but always starting from the character and from the story itself. Of course, then in the end, I realized you're a bit influenced by what you watched, what you like. That's we all are probably. And but yeah, I just try to start from the story, and from what it was required for that specific story, let's say.
Mm. And what can you tell us about your wonderful, wonderful cast? Very female dominated, but particularly, your central protagonist. I mean, how did you discover her, and how did you work with her to develop this character?
Yeah. Well, it was not a great discover, because she was already established. She's already very established in Italy. So like, but I discovered the fact that she's very good well, apart that she's a great actress, so probably great, like good actresses can change tone and do many different things and many different roles, but this tone in particular, I find it very difficult, and she sustained it so I was impressed by her talent. At the beginning, I had no idea. I wrote the character, and also coming from screenwriting, just screenwriting, my only worry was like my imagination and my words. Then when you meet reality, this is a bit different, because of course the character you imagine, you're never going to find the face that you imagined, or the way of walking that you imagine, or the, you know. So I had a lot of auditions. We had 70 auditions to find Amanda. Yeah, and when Benedetta arrived, like for me, it was great, because apart from being a great actress, for me the most important part was understanding the character in the same way. And I feel there are nuances in a character that maybe you cannot really explain, or so. When this happens, that you find someone that has the same vision on the character that you have, it gives you a lot of solace and comfort, and makes you feel like very safe. And that was the case with Benny. And well, now she's like about to go to Berlin for Shooting Star, and like she's great.
And of course, that was, it's going to be so crucial to get that actress right, because she's almost in every frame of the film. And but she's so magnetic, even when there's not lots of dialogue, she's just endlessly watchable, and very much kind of, as you're saying there, like understanding the character and understanding the tone. And she seems to really bring out the humor. So did you kind of have to collaborate quite a lot in order to kind of get that just right?
Yeah, not the. I mean, I think you want to watch her, and I tried to study that as well. I was like, why you? Yeah, it's. I think it's just like you have this cinematic face, and like everything you do is like cinematic. I don't know. I try to understand as well, because for me, it's this. I have the same feeling, but I don't have an explanation for that. Well, we rehearsed quite a lot, and especially like I wanted to. Actually, we didn't rehearse a lot, but we have. But we had like for a low budget, we had the right amount of time, and the most important thing for me was probably the way of talking that all the characters share, and that's just a question of rhythm and delivery, and I mean, and that was of course something that I had to do with every actor, and this is the beauty of having a film, but at least for me, it's a privilege, a film that is not really realistic, and so you can invent a word, like a known place, and also way they talk. And if they talk like that, all of them, like I feel if it works inside that word, probably it's just gonna work.
And the other thing that really struck me is the fact that it is kind of very female centric. So it's not just about Amanda, but also her friend Rebecca, and the caretaker who saves her right at the beginning from the pool, and her mother, and then her friend's mother. So is that something that's very conscious for you as well? It's kind of like different generations of women, her siblings as well, and those all those different relationships that she has to kind of navigate. And what did you want to kind of bring out about the female experience and about female relationships by doing that?
Yeah, well, of course, this is a specific story, and it's a women's story. Clearly, like it's as you said, like mothers, daughters, sisters, and of course, like men are present sometimes in the absence, like, or in so it's still a way of being present, not being present in a way. But yeah, it's mainly their story, and the relationship between women to me is always it's probably something related to the fact that you kind of share certain things in more like closer, and it's just like a mirror, or something that you feel closer to you, and you experience a similar yeah, I really consciously, I never thought about gender, but then I realized that best friends are women. My like the strongest bond that I find are like with sisters, and then the mother-daughter relationship is something that interests me. And then I consciously, I don't know why, there must be something that makes you feel like as a mirror, or something that you have in you, that you see someone that is can probably understand also certain conditions, and that's what makes you feel probably less alone as well.
Mm. And how did you perceive Amanda for yourself? Because in some respects you think, oh, she's this beautiful girl. On paper, she should find it easy to make friends, but there's kind of her oddness, or the fact that she's kind of in her own world, perhaps, people see her as spoiled. She seems to push people away. So what do you think that there is about that character to almost, to what extent should we assimilate and fit in with other people? And to what extent should we hang on to the things that make us individual and make us who we are? And I guess life is a little bit about trying to find that balance.
Yeah, sure. I feel probably more than the things that she experienced is the most is this kind of kind of feeling of not belonging and displacement, which I don't think it's very related to the fact that like if no matter how you look, or no matter how it's just like a feeling that it's very human, and I don't even think it's a generational or related to a certain period of like a certain age. It's just like a feeling that can makes you feel very alone, and even if you have people around and maybe you don't know how to interact with them, or you don't feel comfortable in doing so, and sometimes you find excuse not to do so, and to be honest, to talk about this kind of displacement that probably brings also isolation in adults, to me was very interesting, because I generally see it in like, say it for children and for teenagers, but as she said, it's much more difficult to be like, I don't know, 55 and go to someone and say, hi, my name is Carolina and I want to be your friend. This is like or I have no one to talk to, can I talk to you? Maybe when you're 7 it's like it can, but at 55 it's more difficult. So I was thinking, this is something that interests me, like how we can live like a friendship relationship, and yeah.
And then, despite kind of this thread of kind of melancholy, and the fact that she does suffer loneliness, there are a lot of really comedic moments, and whether that's kind of visually, the humor comes out, or it's in the dialogue. So I just wondered, what were some of like the most fun bits for you to shoot, and on the other side of that, were there any moments that were quite challenging to put together?
Yeah, so there was sometimes on set I laughed, and then I realized like probably they were not the most fun scene in general, but they made me laugh a lot. One is when Amanda runs from a room to another not to be seen. This for me was, I don't know, I couldn't stop laughing, but I don't know why, because Benedetta was so good, the two mothers were so good, we were all together, and it was I don't know, it was really fun, and it's just like almost slapstick thing, so you can write whatever you want, but then when there is something that works like that, or at a certain point a kid fall down on a boat he's playing football, he falls, and everybody, I noticed like the audience always laughs a lot, and it was not even planned. Like, of course I would never plan like he didn't hurt himself, but I would never, and people laugh a lot. So no matter what you write, like when someone falls, like it's the best comic thing you can do. So probably physical humor is the one that made me laugh the most on set. And then there was this amazing surprise, which is the squirrel who ran at a certain point, a little squirrel ran, and everybody asked me, but did you add that in post-production? Or, no, it's like low budget, but there's this little squirrel that at a certain point he comes out, he runs behind Benedetta and just stop there 2 seconds and then leave, and that was a good surprise.
And in terms of what people can take away from watching the film, as we mentioned there, there's a lot about loneliness, especially when we're growing up, not knowing how we fit in, and the fact that you are combining kind of this melancholy feel with comedy, which is actually how life is. It's never, things aren't ever just funny or things aren't ever just sad. They're kind of both at the same time. So does that capture something about even though it's very surreal, there's a feeling there that's very real?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the best humor always have melancholy or weak human weakness in it. As saying, listen, we all go through this. We all know it's sad or it's shit or it's bad or whatever, but let's laugh about it. And I think it's the big power of irony and humor. It's just like, yeah, we all know it's like that, and we share this, but let's laugh about it. And of course, like. Yeah, of course, also the dialogue helps, like the fact that it's surreal, it helps a lot with this, to be honest. Like, and it's the tone I love. I mean, not the one of my, in general, like if I think about that tone, it's something that I love, because maybe if you go a bit far from reality, it even becomes more human. I don't know how to explain well, but it's not you leave reality a bit behind, and so you just focus on human. Yeah, I think I explained this very badly, but maybe you understand. I don't know.
Well, and also the other thing that seems to come out of it is, Amanda definitely finds kind of joy in the small things, like wanting to get enough points to get her LED lamp, and wanting to be on the phone to, the real guy behind the, when she's working in the shop. So there's also something in that, is there, kind of not to sort of, to find those moments of joy, find the things that make you happy and lean into them rather than always kind of worrying about what everyone else thinks.
No, of course, yeah, definitely, and this is kind of the opposite of Rebecca. Amanda, you feel like she really wants to live a lot, and she finds like excitement in very small things, a bit like children, indeed, and. Well, Rebecca tried to avoid everything and just keep control of everything, and that's why she chooses also a very small space. She can control everything. She can have discipline, and she gets she almost try not to get pleasure from anything. And probably this is the thing that make them in the end friends. The refusing like common sense and a common daily life in which you just like yeah, I mean, sometimes you look at this couple of friends and you're like, I don't see what they have in common, but they know what they have in common, and it can be very small things. And this is the beauty of friendship. I think it's a choice based on we don't know what, but like a common something with another human being. And that's the thing that interests me in this story, for example, as well.
And thinking about the journey this film's already gone on, obviously it's your first film, and the fact that you had it in Venice and in Toronto, and now it's coming here to London. I believe you had the premiere yesterday. Was it the UK premiere?
Yes, premiere in UK. Yes, it was very nice.
So what's that journey been like? And have you, seeing kind of audience reactions, like you say, you kind of work on a film, but it's not until you actually see people watching and see their reactions that you're going to know how it's going to land. So what's the experience been like for you?
No, I'm very like I tend not to be in the room when their screening happens, because you can hear if it works or not. Because if people laugh, it means it works, but maybe they don't. So I just wait outside. But in general, like I'm really happy, because I see from Q&A a lot of questions. People come after, they text me on Instagram, even like younger generation. So I'm really happy and proud of this film, which is traveling more than me, and like it's yeah. So I'm happy for the film and for everyone who worked on it. And I didn't expect this, to be honest. I was like writing every day. It was a completely different lifestyle. I thought, okay, I'm going to do a couple of festivals and then I'm going to go back to writing. But I'm learning that, yeah, you have and it's nice to do it, travel with the film and stay with him for a longer period. And I'm happy to do it. Listen, and no, all is good for the moment. I'm really happy.
And in terms of, you know, doing the Q&As and things, what do you think about the story has captured people's imaginations most? And also, you know, have there been any questions that have really taken you by surprise?
Question by surprise. I don't know. I'm thinking about yesterday, for example. Yeah, one they asked me, is there a question that they never ask you and you really want us to ask you? But I had no answer to that. I was like, no. So yeah, that one. And then what was the other question indeed?
Oh, like what is it that people really pick up on most? You know, what captures people about the story?
Yeah, it is the character where it start, like where it originates from, and probably the tone as well. What I, you know, the feeling that is there is something that is real but is not realistic. This is we talk about a lot in Q&A, and yeah, and also how great is Benedetta.
And, you know, in terms of, you know, how you see the broader kind of landscape right now, you know, did you face any difficulties as a female filmmaker getting your film made, and the fact that it is so female centric in the story? Or do you feel like those sort of barriers have kind of been broken down mostly by now, and there is more of a level playing field in terms of who can tell their stories and what those stories can be about?
Yeah, well, talking about my experience, because it's the only one I have, I feel there are little things but constant things that tend to um, diminish a bit the authority, and that you have to be strong and gain it. Well, for male filmmakers, is maybe taken for granted, is already there. So you have to be probably do this little bit more with your work to get the, you know, to show that there's no difference, like the same authority to do so or say something that you want to say, you know. And and it's very little things, and I think they're still probably in the culture or in the but they're getting better, and I see younger generation that are much different from previous generation, and I think this is just amazing. So of course, I'm talking about my experience, I'm talking about Italy, and I feel, my feeling is that is improving. There's a lot of work to do still, especially when I see numbers and percentage, and but I think we're improving.
And in terms of what you might do next, you mentioned that, you know, first and foremost a screenwriter. So are you going to be writing another film, writing and directing another film, or what's next for you?
I wrote this film that was in Sundance this year for director Cavalli, and I can't wait to write again. To be honest, right now, but I'm trying while I travel, and I'm a bit disappointed in myself. I realize I don't have much discipline when I get out of my comfort zone. So I'm trying to write. I'm done with the first draft. Not sure I like it, to be honest, but it gives you a lot of addiction and adrenaline, the directing. So I think I would like to do a second feature, and we'll see. I'm right now, I'm focusing on that, and I would like to try a story that has more than one character. Like, it's not is more, collective, would you say in English? I don't know, corale, like more main characters, let's say, instead of just one, which is challenging for me, because I feel much more comfortable with one single character-driven main character film. But we'll see.
In terms of kind of other actors and actresses that are out there right now, is there any in particular you would love to work with, or any filmmakers, up and coming filmmakers that you really admire?
Well, I was really happy. Also, the casting process was so long. So to be honest, I was really happy with the cast I had. And I don't know if this is always the case, but I noticed that they're recurring most of the time in filmmakers' filmography. Like they're often same actors, and I understand that because you get attached in a way, you get to know each other. So for the moment, like I'm really happy with them. I didn't think about cast. And also another thing that I tend not to do is like maybe writing with a your real face in mind, because after it's difficult when it doesn't happen, like you still have that face in mind, which is like, I don't know. I try not to do it. And regarding upcoming filmmaker, there is this film I really wanna see. It's called Luxembourg. I don't know if you watched it by
No, I
any
haven't seen it
chance,
yet, but
because
I
I
will.
we just met in Gothenburg, and I really want to watch it. It was in Venice with me. It was in Toronto at the same time. I didn't watch it. I really wanna. I saw the trailer, and I really loved the tone. I feel there's something in common. I don't know, but I can't. I can't wait to watch it. And but also in Italy now, like there is a new generation of writers and directors that are like we that are working and starting to produce their first feature. Maybe they come from shorts, and yeah, I hope we're gonna grow all together. Listen.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing all
Very
that with
much.
me.
Thank
It's so wonderful to hear about your film. Congratulations again. And yeah, can't wait for the release date, which is going to be later this year, I think. So thanks so much.
thank you very much.
Nice
Thank
to talk
you.
to you. Thanks a lot. Have a good
Thank
day.
you,
Bye.
Sarah.